Now, in a significant development following the high-stakes Trump-Putin summit in Alaska, Russian President Vladimir Putin revealed that US-Russia trade has grown by 20% since Donald Trump returned to power in the US. In fact, speaking after the meeting in Anchorage, Putin said this uptick here underscores deepening ties and that there are several areas for possible cooperation between Washington and Moscow. Let's listen in to the Russian president.
Incidentally, when the new administration came to power, bilateral trade started to grow. It's still very symbolic. Still, we have a growth of 20%. As I've said, we have a lot of dimensions for joint work. It is clear that the U.S. and Russian investment and business cooperation has tremendous potential. Russia and the U.S. can offer each other so much in trade, digital, high-tech, and in space exploration. We see that Arctic cooperation is also very possible.
Viewers, so while Trump enjoys favorable trade with Russia, he simultaneously threatens other countries of secondary tariffs for continuing to trade with Moscow. Remember, he slapped an additional 25% tariff on India, one of Russia's largest oil buyers, framing it as a big blow to Moscow's economy. India called the move unfair, unjustified and unreasonable. Further, after meeting Putin, Trump says he will hold on more tariffs. Now, the question is, what does it signal for countries like India? First up, for countries like India and other buyers of Russian oil, here are the big takeaways from this summit. First up, no breakthroughs. The meeting was picture perfect, but ultimately lacked concrete action on Ukraine, peace or even sanctions. In fact, Trump's ambiguity persists. Trump hinted that relief from retaliatory punishments might arrive in the weeks ahead for nations like India, yet no guarantees were made here. Now, India's strategic balancing act intensifies. New Delhi remains cautious on this front, navigating US pressure and also deep-rooted energy ties with Russia. In fact, viewers, this summit it seemed was more of a staged PR moment rather than a signal of shifting alliances or substantive realignments. In fact, to sum it up, President Trump leaned into photogenic diplomacy while selectively yielding economic power. He celebrates record trade with Russia, yet punishes energetic engagement from allies. So if this isn't selective hypocrisy, the question is, what really is then?
President Trump's levying on 25% extra tariff to India as a penalty for buying oil from Russia, I don't think that's the actual reason. Because last 3 years, we have been buying oil from Russia, and also the US administration knows about it. And even after Trump took over as the president of the United States, this fact was known to him all through. And there were no strong statements emanating from Russia to suggest that India should stop this. As a matter of fact, there were a number of meetings at the strategic level, and especially the defense sector, if I would relate it to, and we were talking to each other in a very, very congenial kind of environment. So why this change all of a sudden? I can attribute it to a very large extent to what happened during Operation Sindoor. And I have a conviction. You see, after all, if you study, I'm a PhD in a subject called emotional intelligence. So I would like to use my expertise on this to try to understand what kind of man, Trump is and why he behaves the way he behaves. So
you have to know too, Major General. I think he's an enigma to many people who've been trying to read him.
Yes. So I'm just trying to understand this man, and I'm trying to analyze as a case study for myself in my own study. So I come to a conclusion that he needs an ego massage after every 7 days, 8 days, because the kind of statements he gives, he wants people around here who have to say that I remember Hitler, I'll just, though the comparison is not that much, I still remember as a child watching movies when Hitler used to walk in, people used to say, "Hail Hitler." So something like "Hail Trump." So whenever Trump walks in with a statement, he has to be appreciated. And the moment you don't appreciate him, then you become a bad man. And the ceasefire episode, I'm just actually coming to that. I'm on a slightly serious note now. The ceasefire episode has actually you put him off a lot. And why should a man? My reading is, why should a man repeat 31 times that he has done the ceasefire? If the president of the United States has to say it once, I think it is enough. But why he's repeating every moment? Even 2 days back also, I just saw a newspaper report in which the same ceasefire, like
Yeah, so
broken
clearly he wants some
yes,
credit for it, and India has not been
yes, he wants
giving
it
that
better than
credit.
we.
The one reason why the US cannot have secondary tariffs on China is because of the sheer amount of dependency on China from a supply chain perspective. If secondary tariffs were to come onto China, the economic whiplash in the United States would be of epic proportions. When you compare that to vis-a-vis India, which exports roughly about 90 billion or so dollars of goods and services to United States, out of which certain section is IT sector, which is currently not under that tariffable sector. Then you have pharmaceuticals, then you have canned foods, and then you have auto gear parts, etc. So those items will have economic whiplash, but at the end of the day, it's something which the American people will be able to sort of easily not easily, but will be able to withstand. So
Okay.
that is the way
So
he
are
was
you saying
basically going
perhaps he
about
could
it.
be selective going forward, may look at additional tariffs on
Well,
China, but not on India?
so the idea of using India as a case study was basically to try and prompt Vladimir Putin to come onto the table, on a negotiating table, saying that, if you do not play ball with us, if you play hard ball with us, we can go after every other country that you
Right.
are currently trading with. So the economic cost would be of higher proportions. You already have an economy which is on a downtrend. Your oil and gas sales have been plummeting over the course of the last few months. And if more trading partners were to sort of treat you as a untouchable, you will face internal crisis.